Yep. God King. King God. Yep, I listened to the video. King God. They rejected. They asked for, and God gave. Did you get that? God was their king. They didn't want God to be their king. They didn't want God to talk to them anymore. So God accommodated them. That's what he did. And God hasn't stopped being God. He can't stop being God. But he can do what he wants to do. And he does. And Jesus made that clear to the devil. He's in the wilderness. And the devil is tempting him, trying to get him to do some things. But Jesus tells the devil, you want to know what Jesus told the devil? Read it in the book. I'm not going to read it for you. I am looking at Daniel today. There were 4 boys. They were young. They did not have wives. They didn't. I'm sure they wound up with wives later. But when they were taken in, they didn't have a wife. No. They weren't married. And those 4 boys, you can read about them in Daniel. I don't think you're going to read about them too much anywhere else in the book. But Nebuchadnezzar was the king that God set up in office. He set him up. He gave him a vision. They gave him a dream. He let him see something. It kind of upset the king. It really upset the king. But it didn't upset Daniel. No, Daniel didn't get upset at all. And his 3 friends, they didn't get upset either. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. They were like Jesus. Those 4 young men were like Jesus. They were like him. Jesus told the devil, I don't care what you put in front of me. I don't care what you offer me. It doesn't matter. I'm serving my God. That's what Jesus was letting the devil know. Same thing that these 4 boys let the king know. Oh, king, we know you're king. There's no question. You are the king. They knew who the king was. The devil knows who God is too. The devil knows who God is. And I know who the devil is. And I know who Jesus is. And I know who I am. And Nebuchadnezzar, blessed, this is Daniel chapter 3. Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants who put their trust in him. Now let me ask you a simple question. Do you think that Jesus trusted God? Read and see. Did Jesus trust God? Yes, I'll answer the question for you. Jesus trusted God. He proved it. Time and time again, he proved it in 3 years. 3. If you read about these boys that Nebuchadnezzar gets, they're going to be for 3 years. And then they're going to go into the king's service. Jesus, for 3 years, did something on the earth, and he was crucified. 3 years. After that, he was raised from the dead. Now, where is he? Do you know where Jesus is now? After 3 years, 3 years of service, after John baptized him, 3 years. And God raised him from the dead and brought him into heaven and set him at his right hand. That's all he had to do. It was 3 years. Be crucified to gain a position in heaven. Jesus gained a position in heaven. No angel got this position. None. Out of all the angels in heaven, no angel. No angel ever held this position. None. But this Son of God that was born in Bethlehem, I got the book. I've got the writings. I can read what John has written. It's right here in this book. I'm touching it with my fingers. John wrote, made notes of what he saw and what he heard. Jesus made it clear that he had overcome and he could sit with his Father on his throne. And somebody's going to tell me that Jesus is sitting on the throne of David in heaven, and I'm going to tell the man that tells me that, you don't got a clue. You've got an imagination. That's what you got, but you don't have a clue. No. I don't care how you spit it out. I've already told you ahead of time, you don't have a clue. You just think you got a clue. And Nebuchadnezzar said, therefore I make a decree that any people, nation, or tongue that speaks anything offensive against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be torn limb from limb, and their houses reduced to rubbish heap, inasmuch as there is no other God who is able to deliver in this way. And Jesus is not his name. Jesus is the name of his Son that was born in Bethlehem. That's who Jesus is. I am in my Father's house. I'm in my Father's house. Right here. and I'm going to preach the gospel of the kingdom. That's all I got to do. That's all I want to do. O King, there's one king that's been king a long, long time. And he sits on the throne. And if you see him, you'll say, you know, that looks like the Ancient of Days. That's what you would say if you could see who sits on the throne in heaven. And if you could see who sits and can sit on the throne with him, you could say that's Jesus. That's his son, who overcame. By submitting to God. Just like these boys that right here overcame because they were committed to another king. Although they had this king, Nebuchadnezzar, to deal with. Yep. Kind of the shape I'm in. I got to deal with, but the only one I got to please is my Father in heaven. That's who Noah pleased, and that's who Abraham pleased. Isaac pleased him. Jacob pleased him. I can find a lot of people in this book that pleased King God. I can. I can tell you and find some people in here that found favor with King God. But not one man found more favor with King God than the man named Jesus. None. And he was one of the shortest lived or lived person that you can read about in the book. But there's only one thing that you can read about in the book. After those 33 years, he looked down and he saw the people and he said, "It's finished." This part is over. Now, he has overcome. And he was born to be a king. God was not born to be a king. I don't know. But as the Son of God, there could be king in my future. Could be. It's up to God. It's up to God. God King. Jesus, mediator. What did I say? We got King God, and we got the mediator. But he does not have to mediate for me, because I'm God's son, and Jesus is my brother.